Let us look at the pseudocode that was previously designed to outline the steps for calculating the gross pay based on hours worked. We want to change the pseudocode so that the program will repeat itself based on a condition. So we use a while loop. So the first step would be we're going to add a while loop. More specifically, the while true. So we're going to move over here and type while true. And all instructions that are associated with this while loop have to be indented. So we're going to highlight all this and indent it to show the relationship in the while loop. Adding this while loop, all of the statements associated with this program have been indented in relation to where the while loop started. Normally in a program like Python, the indentions are usually set to 4 blank spaces horizontally per line when you press either the tab key. To press the tab key rather than counting out 4 blank spaces. So now in the program, what we've created essentially is an infinite loop. So the program is never going to stop the way we have it here. So we have to add an explicit condition so that the program will break. So here's one way that you can end this program. You enter with your first entry, you ask the user to make the entry. In this case, it's the employee's name. If what the person enters is quit, then the program is going to break. We've made an explicit condition to break out of the program. Otherwise, continue with the program by entering the hours worked, the hourly pay, and the program will calculate the gross pay based on the hours using other if conditions as you saw earlier in previous examples. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we already converted the if part to Python. Now we're going to add the while loop to this auto repair payroll program, expressing it in Python. So we're looking at the parallel program to the right of the screen, and so this is the program in Python that you've seen in previous videos. Now what we're going to do is add a loop so that when the user runs the program, it will continue until the user uses a condition to break. In this case, it's called quit. So the first step is going to be, we're going to say while true. You notice as soon as I typed while true colon and I pressed the enter key, Python automatically indented, which means all statements that are to be repeated must be indented in this program. So we'll go and highlight everything until the end. An easy way to allow all of the lines to be indented is to click on the format menu using the idle from Python, choose indent the region, and so everything is indented here. I'm going to save the program. Now that I've saved the program, let's run it. So we enter employee's name, Harry Johnson, worked 40 hours a week, makes $35.75 an hour. So what you've noticed is that it calculated the results, but then it started asking for the employee's name again. Okay, so we put in John Brown. He worked 75 hours and he makes $39.88 per credit for his hourly wages. And what it's doing now is asking to enter the name again. I'll just maximize the screen. And at the very bottom of the screen is asking the same thing. I'll put in someone's name, Mary Brown. she works 40 hours a week, and she makes 75.50 an hour. So the program is continually asking for the employee's name. It is not stopping. I have essentially created an infinite loop. So now we're going to go back and add a condition in there so that the program will break. So essentially I've added an explicit condition to break the program by providing directions to the user as to what they need to do to quit the program. So you enter employee's name. If you type quit, that means the program ends. If the employee's name is quit, break is used. Break is one of those conditions that is associated with loops. So you'll find it being used in loops for all practical purposes. But you'll notice that if the employee's name is quit, it breaks. Otherwise, it proceeds. Any statements that must proceed after the else condition must be indented as well. All other indentions are applied based upon the conditions that are used in the program previously. So let's run the program. We'll run it. Enter Mary Williamson, 40 hours a week, $32.88. And you notice it automatically asks the user to enter an employee's name again. So we type in Eddie Clark. He worked 48 hours and he makes $39 rather and 45 cents. And you don't see this on the screen, but at the bottom it's going to ask again, enter the employee's name. Now if I type quit, the program stops at this point. It halts and nothing else happens after that. The program quits and that's it. Now again, when I say employee name is equivalent to quit, it's looking for the lowercase quit. What you can do now is allow the user flexibility. So if we type in employee's name and use the built-in function lower, Lower, open close paren, what happens is even though it says looking for lower, if the individual enters any combinations of the QUIT, whether it be lower or uppercase, it will automatically convert it to lower, make it equivalent, and then to the comparison on the right side of the double equal symbol, and the program will stop. For example, let's run the program again, and once again we add, let's say, Clarence Potter, 40 hours a week, $125. Mary Beth Lane, she worked 57 hours and she roughly gets 42.50. And this time I'm going to type, even though it says type quit in lowercase, I'm going to type it in uppercase. And the program still quits because what it did again was it took whatever I wrote, converted it into lower, compared it to what I had in the string to the right of the equal, double equal symbol, and it allowed me to enter that. So basically, whenever you're making a comparison, whatever is being compared to, usually you have to put in the exact string of characters that are in between these delimiters, except for once you enter the results, the computer converts it to whatever it needs to with the comparison, and then it proceeds to be a positive statement or conditional, whereby the criterion is met. So let's take a look at the program once more. And as you can see, indentions are extremely important. Stay tuned for the next video concerning the while true loop and creating menus using the while true loop.